Hello and welcome back. Today's video is going to be all about eyeshadow palettes I'm glad I didn't buy. I've done several videos on my channel about makeup I'm glad that I didn't buy. These are things that I was interested in, some for quite a while, and I eventually just talked myself out of it because I realized it just was unnecessary. I did recently do a video, palettes that I still dream about, if you're interested in that, and I will link that in the description box. And yeah, let's just get into it. First up is the Natasha Nonna Gold palette. I dreamed about this palette for a very, very long time. It's $129, very, very expensive, but I'm glad I did not purchase it because I eventually got the Metropolis palette, which has more shades in it for the same price. I love that palette. I've talked about it a lot on my channel. These are definitely not dupes, but there are some similar shades in them, and I just don't feel like I need both. And I do feel like the Metropolis has more variety, so I'm really glad that I didn't get the gold palette, even though it has amazing reviews and it is beautiful. Next up is the ABH Norvina Volume 1. This is the larger palette that has a lot of pinks and purples in it. And I'm very happy I did not purchase this for several reasons. Mostly it is a larger palette. I tend to not reach for huge palettes. They take up a lot of space. But recently, if you saw my ranking mini eyeshadow palettes video, I'll link that in the description box, I did purchase one of the mini Norvina palettes, which is a 9-pan one. And I like it, but it's not my favorite formula. It's very different from the other Anastasia formulas. It is a pressed pigment formula. So I like it, but I just don't think it's amazing. Therefore, I'm really glad I did not buy a larger version that costs $60. Next up is a much more affordable palette. That is the ColourPop Blue Moon. And this one is so beautiful, and I do love blue eyeshadow, although I don't wear it a lot, which is why I'm glad I didn't get this, just because I don't think I'd get that much use out of it. You know, I've been kind of wary about these monochromatic palettes because they are kind of one-trick ponies. Like, you're only going to get a blue look with this, which I do own other blue eyeshadows, and it just seems kind of unnecessary, although, gosh, the people that have this rave about this palette, and it is absolutely beautiful, but I just don't think I'd really get my money's worth out of it, even though it's only $12. Next up is a much older palette that I actually desired for a very long time, and that is the Too Faced Chocolate Gold palette. I do have the original chocolate bar, and I really enjoyed that palette. It is kind of a favorite in my collection, actually, but this one I'm glad I didn't purchase just because it's mostly shimmers. There's only, I think, 2, maybe 3 matte shadows in the whole thing. I definitely have these colors over and over again, and I've said before, I do like the Too Faced formula, but it's not my favorite, although people say that the metallics in here are more foiled than in some of their other palettes, which I do think I would like that. Honestly, I think if I had this palette, I would like it and enjoy it, but again, this one is kind of expensive, $49, so I just don't think I need it, and I'm glad that I eventually decided against buying it. Then we have the Huda Retrograde palette. This one I think is really, really beautiful. There's a lot of pinks, blues, those type of colors, but I definitely think I have all of these in my collection. And this one is a bit more on the pricey side, around $60, and I just don't think, again, I'd really get my money's worth out of this, but I did recently buy one of the mini palettes by Huda that's $29. That is the Rich Nudes, and I love that. It is a fantastic formula, so I'm sure if I had the Retrograde Mercury I would like it, but again, I don't think I'd get as much use out of it as I will out of the nude palette that I brought from her, so I'm glad that I skipped this one. Then we have the Natasha Nonna Sunrise palette, and this one is $65, and this has like pinks and yellows and orange, kind of, you know, sunrise themed. I think this one is beautiful, and I was strongly considering it for a while. Also, I do love the Natasha Nonna formula, but it's very, very expensive. So I'm trying to only buy eyeshadow palettes from her that I think I would get a lot of use out of because I would want to get my money's worth. And I think for how colorful this is, I don't think I'd be able to wear it as often. So I just don't think I'd quite get my money's worth. Plus, I think I can easily dupe this in my collection. So I think at that price tag, I'd want to make sure it's something I would wear a lot and a bit more interesting or different to my collection. Although this one is beautiful, but yeah, I think definitely passing. All right, last up is from Julius Place. This is their festival palette. This came out years and years ago. It's one of their older palettes, but if you've been watching my channel, you know I love the Julius Place eyeshadow formula. And I don't even know why I wanted this for so long, other than I love Julius Place, because this is not even my favorite color story. It is a bit random, you know, there's a blue and a red and a silver. It is beautiful, but it's just not my favorite out of what they've done. And I have so many Juvia's palettes, I should just enjoy them. But yeah, I wanted this one for a while, but I think I wanted it more to like complete the collection and have more from Juvia's just because I love the brand, which is not a good reason to buy something. So I'm definitely glad that I'm skipping over this one. Alrighty, that is it for this video. These are eyeshadow palettes that I finally talked myself out of, which is great because I don't need more eyeshadow palettes. And if I buy more, I want to be extremely selective. I want to make sure it's something that I'm going to wear pretty regularly. And yeah, let us know what eyeshadow palettes or other makeup products you've been able to finally talk yourself out of. That is it, and thank you so much for watching.